Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2025. This is a new year, and oftentimes people will do resolutions or start goal setting or different things like that. And I've actually taught classes in time management and goal setting, which a lot of you who've been here before will know. And so I want to break that down and set us up for success and talk to you about my goals for the new year, as well as goals for the channel, and in the process, share some ways for you to maybe integrate these concepts so that you can have a productive year yourself. So, as always, I'm your host, Sam Wolf. You're listening to Life of a Military Wife. All right, so let's just get started. For a lot of you who are, frequent the channel, have been here for a while, you'll know that I do a lot with time management, work-life balance, all those sorts of things. I took classes on that in college because I have a degree in family life science. And so these are skills that I have found are really, really important in the military community for military spouses, how to just be productive and work through things and handle all the crazy that we get. But you know what? Everybody needs these skills and everybody can benefit from them. So we're just going to break it all down and talk about it today. I have done multiple episodes about goal setting and time management and New Year's resolutions. So I figured this year, instead of going through all of that stuff again, I was going to explain my goals and through that process, maybe give you some pointers or ideas and suggestions on things you might want to try to start your year off right and set yourself up for success. Because we all want a productive year, right? Right. So let's dig into this and just get started. Our church rolled out a goal setting and skill program for kids and youth years ago, and it breaks it down into 4 areas: social, physical, spiritual, and intellectual. And when I was going over this with my kids for their youth program, I really loved that way of making well rounded goals. So I started applying that to myself. And so this year, my social goal is to get out with friends once a month because I just need that for my mental health. I'm just a much happier person when I take a break because I can be a little bit of a workaholic. And then my physical goal is to go for a 30-minute walk every day. And my spiritual goal is to do a gospel study every day. Now, that might vary in what it looks like. I've learned to be flexible with myself, but I just really want to get to the point where I'm doing it consistently. My intellectual goal is one that I have shared with you guys already, and that is to read 100 books this year. So, all of those things are going to take some planning to be successful at. And the other thing I have spoken about is my feeling about resolutions. Now, most people have resolutions that they set up for the new year tend to fall into the category of an avoidance goal. So, avoidance goals are ones where you are focusing on avoiding the negative outcome or moving away from an undesired result. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to take that approach, you've got to be really systematic about it. And I feel like people sometimes beat themselves up a lot with avoidance goals, especially when they inevitably slip up and have to start over again. Don't quit on yourself. That is probably one of the biggest takeaways for goal setting and building habits that I would give to anyone is just don't give up on yourself. It's okay. Pick yourself up, start over again. It's all right. Nobody gets it the first time. Everyone needs to work on it. But that's part of the reason why I love approach goals so much. When I set a New Year's resolution, quote unquote, it's an approach goal. It's something I want to be achieving and successful at by the end of the year. I don't expect myself to be great at it right away. So, for example, with my approach goals this year, going out with my friends once a month, that's something I want to be doing by the end of the year. Maybe I'll get great at it, maybe I won't. I'll work on it. But for example, the walking 30 minutes every day, again, I want to be doing that by the end of the year. That way, you know what? Maybe I won't be great at it in how hard. Okay, I'll be completely honest. I'm only about a week in and I've already missed a couple days. I'm back on the wagon though. I'm gonna do this. It's a thing. I'm gonna accomplish this, but I'm not there yet. I'm just not. That gets me into my second big part about setting goals. So there's an acronym some of y'all might know about goal setting, and it's called SMART. So, SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Let's break that down. That's a lot right there. So, specific, clearly defining what you want to achieve. Measurable, including a criteria to track your progress. Achievable, ensuring your goal is realistic. Relevant, align the goal with a broader objective. Time bound, set a deadline. So, here I'm going to break into my intellectual goal, which is reading 100 books this year. So that's a clearly defined goal. 100 books, pretty dang straightforward on that one. Measurable. Is it measurable? Heck yes, because I'm making a list. So right now, just going to say, y'all have any really, really good book recommendations, please send them to me because I've learned I read more books if I've got a constant list of things I want to read. And because I've been reading so much in the last few years, I used to have these master list of like 100 like plus books, 100 plus ish books that I wanted to read. I've already finished most of my lists. Like, I need new stuff. So please, please, people, I am putting together a list of all of the awesomeness. If there are books you want me to review for the podcast, send them my way because I am looking for stuff like that. I'm looking for fun stuff, but I'm also looking for practical stuff. So, any good books, please send them my way. But yeah, having a list. So, making it measurable, having a list and being able to check that off. I've figured out that I need to be reading approximately like 9 to 10 books a month to get there. I actually have the exact number somewhere. It's in my planner. I do have it. I do have it figured out. And maybe some months I'll get more and some I'll get less. Some books are going to be longer and shorter. And so that's where I'm going to be planning that out. Maybe pairing some of the shorter books with some of the longer books. So that way I still feel like I'm achieving things. Achievable. I know you can read 100 books in a year because my friend did it last year. Do I know I can read 100 books in a year? Well, I know I have a much better chance if I plan ahead, which is why I'm making a list. And P.S., my list of books to read this year is not at even 50 yet. So, really, please send me stuff. Relevant. Well, why is reading so relevant to me? Well, partly for the podcast and partly because I like to pre-read a lot of the stuff my kids are reading if I never read it as a kid, because I like sharing those things with them. I really feel that reading aloud as a family is incredibly valuable for teaching interpersonal relationship skills, communication skills, emotional intelligence, um, just educational in general, and language and grammar acquisition. There's just so many benefits to reading aloud as a family, and it's also fun. So I pre-read a lot of those books that we do as read alouds, and I also just pre-read ones because I want to know what I'm handing over to my kids so I can have a conversation with them about it and I can be a part of their world. So that's why that's relevant to me. Time bound? Yep, I've got a deadline, December 31st. Now, typically with my reading goals, I have met them well in advance. I usually meet my goal by like November, which tells me that I can stretch. I have obviously not been setting my goal high enough if I'm accomplishing it with a lot of time to spare. So, this is a big challenge, but I really feel like I can do it. Another goal that I'm doing, but this is kind of attached to that, is, oh my gosh, knowing what books I have really helps because I've got a ton of books in my house. And some I've read, some I haven't read in a long time. I've bought some for read alouds, and I forget we have more bookshelves than people in our house. So I may have lost track of how many books we have. And in the process of losing track, I may have, inadvertently numerous times bought duplicates. So to save ourselves some money and to just be a little more organized and to help me with that list of knowing what books we have and what books we don't have, I have found a really awesome app. It was first one that I heard about through another podcast, and then a friend was talking to me about it. It's called Bookshelf, and I will do my best to link it in the description below. But what Bookshelf does is it lets you scan or input every book you own so that you have an inventory on your phone that you can share and you can keep track and you can, if you've read them, you can put a review when you started, when you finished. This will help me keep track of what I'm reading and how much I'm reading. It'll let you set goals, all sorts of stuff. And it also lets you get a wish list. So I go to book sales twice a year with my kids, and we never know what's going to be there. And there has been so many times where there will be just tons and tons of books, and I won't know anything about them or anything about the authors. And I just wish I knew whether or not I was missing out on something awesome. This last time we went, we got almost every Hardy book ever printed, and my oldest son was just ecstatic, absolutely thrilled. I got a chaplain's handbook from World War II. Um, Previously, we have an entire reference section on World War II, ships, planes, everything you can think of that was, transportation wise for World War II because my kids just love history. We have quite a few books about horses because I got kiddos who love horses, plants, all sorts of stuff. So it's really good to know what we already have when I hit these book sales, and I'm trying to really quickly go through and just grab all the good stuff I can because I don't want to be buying duplicates when I could leave that for someone else who doesn't have it. And then I want to also be able to look at it and be like, oh, this is one I wanted. So having a wish list ahead of time and being able to go, ooh, this was one we wanted. Ooh, this is one we wanted. The more I'm prepared walking into those, because those, oh my gosh, these book sales I go to are like the Black Friday for book lovers. They are intense, and that is no joke. And so, anyway, that's my goal is to just be more organized with all of that because it'll help with my reading. And okay, I'm just going to admit it. I love reading. I love books. It's a thing. And you know what? I love that we have so many books in my house because I can tell my kids, go read, and they're going to find something. They've helped me pick out a lot of, if not the majority of the kids' books we have in our home. So I know that there's something they love on those bookshelves. But I also hope that as I take this first step of cataloging everything we own, I can in 2026 then start taking the step of organizing all of the books we own more effectively so that my kids can find those books that they love without pulling off everything from the bookshelves and making a mess of it. Yeah, because they do that quite a bit. Anyway, so those are the ways that I go about approaching my goal setting. And for any of you guys who are listening to this and you're like, oh, but Sam, I don't even know where to start. I have never been effective with this. That's fine. You have to start somewhere, and not everyone's going to be great at everything right off the bat the first time through. Last year, I finally reviewed a fabulous book that is really great for beginners, and it's called Atomic Habits. And again, you're thinking, Sam, we're talking about goal setting. Why are you telling me about habits? Yeah, goals and habits are pretty much the same thing, in my opinion. You're making a goal, it's going to lead you to a habit in most cases. Now, not all, but generally. So, Atomic Habits is a really good breakdown to understand the concepts and how to be effective and what pitfalls to avoid and different strategies and techniques so you can find a system that works effectively for you because everyone is different and everyone approaches goals and habit forming slightly differently. And that's okay. We're all going to be slightly unique and individual people on these things because none of us are alike. And we all have different lives, very different lives. And that's all right. And going on with this, it's just a great way to start to gauge if you're completely new at this. Now, if you're not completely new, you probably already have some of these skills. Maybe you've tried the Eisenhower metrics that I talk about, or you've tried the techniques that I've talked about in Beyond Juggling. Lots of different techniques that I've covered on this. And I will, again, try to link as many of those previous episodes as possible in the description below. But the most important thing, if I can give you like any feedback, just do it. Just get started. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Don't expect it to happen the very first week. Just do your best and be realistic and reward yourself. Do something you're going to want to do. So, that's one reason why I have reading goals. I love having reading goals because it's something I want to do. I'm encouraged and motivated to do it. If you are dreading doing something, then you're not going to do it probably. So when I had to start eating healthier because I was having health problems, the way I did it was I started looking for really yummy recipes that fit the new dietary restrictions I had so that I didn't feel like I was being deprived or missing out or anything like that. And I had things to look forward to. And as we tried out as a family and experimented and we found new favorite food, we found dishes that we would have never tried before that we now use as staples. So make it fun. Find a way to make it fun. If you're trying to eat healthier, find fun recipes. Maybe do a salad group. This is one thing I do, a soup and salad group with some other friends of mine, and we all contribute ingredients and then we make little salad kits for ourselves. And they're all different and they've got unique stuff. And it just means I don't have to think about a healthy lunch. Or we bring a pre made soup and we split it up so we have different soups to try all week. Find ways to make it fun. If you want to be healthier, let's just say you want to go walking more. I've been parts of walking groups. Currently, my schedule doesn't match up with any friends. So, a walking group is not something that is realistic. But maybe socializing is a way to encourage yourself to be more physically active. Okay, find a way to bundle that and put those two things together. What I'm trying to get at is this can be fun. Let's make this year a fun, productive, successful year. That said, I want to go into some of my podcast goals with you guys. So I'm really trying to increase the reach of the podcast so that these resources are getting out to individuals who need them the most. And what I have found going through the analytics from last year we expanded first into X. The podcast is now being promoted on X, and you can find links to listen to the episodes on X. I'm still trying to figure out the process of actually sponsoring, like actually putting the whole links onto X itself and being hosted on X. Still working on that. But then we also ventured into YouTube. Now, I will be completely honest, I still don't have YouTube completely figured out. And most of my listeners, you guys just aren't on YouTube with this. You're used to finding me other places. And because I'm just an audio podcast and I don't have a lot of visual elements, YouTube is not exactly the preferred format where people are going to look for me, or at least it doesn't feel that way. But I have noticed with the combined analytics from all of my different platforms, the most popular and re listened to episodes are the interviews. And I'm listening to you guys, I'm paying attention to that. The interviews and the reviews tend to be the things you want the most. So I am looking for individuals who are part of the military community or support the military community who would be interested in coming on the podcast and sharing what they have to, improve the lives of military families or whatever they've got to contribute. I'm currently looking for, I found somebody who works with homeless veterans and I'm hoping to get them scheduled onto the podcast. I'm looking for someone who, preferably if possible, is a military spouse and has worked with VA loans, and is a real estate agent, because I'd like to talk about purchasing homes, pitfalls, those sorts of things, or anyone who works in the housing field and has familiarity with VA loans specifically. So if you know somebody who fits that description, please send them my way. Also, any nonprofits or organizations that assist the military community or veterans, please let me know. I would like to work with you and see what we can do so we can get those resources out to the community and just help as many people as possible. The next one is I have been doing some research on my own and I am hoping to get that research finished. I've finished the research, but I'm going through analyzing and writing the article, and then I'm hoping to get my article published this year. And then the last one is panels. I'm really hoping to quarterly at first, and maybe monthly if I'm lucky, get panels of military spouses together to discuss a topic. The one I have coming up is military relationships. There is two a YouTuber and a podcaster that I'd like to do that with, and I'm working on coordinating that. So hopefully we'll be getting some panels. And if we can get these panels going and going well, maybe we can even get to the point where we're live streaming. That would be fabulous, but I don't know if we're there yet. Everybody tends to have really widely varying schedules because we're military. We're spread all across the world. We've got busy lives. So, right now, live streaming just doesn't feel practical. But if that's something you are interested in, please let me know. But those are the things I'm working on. Also, researching marketing methods that would be more effective in getting the word out to people. But that leads me to my last thing. I don't often plug for the podcast for you to leave a review or to like, subscribe, and those sorts of things and comments. But I have noticed as I've looked through the analytics, that really makes a difference on whether or not these episodes are recommended to other people or that the podcast even shows up in a search if people are looking for this content so that we can be more accessible to the military community. I really, really would appreciate for all of you who listen to like, subscribe, put in a review, make a comment, and share it with a friend because that makes a huge difference to how widely distributed the podcast ends up being. And it is a really big blessing for me. That said, I want to thank everybody who's already subscribed and left reviews and comments and all of those things. They are a huge blessing. I see them. I think I have responded to every single comment that's ever been made at this point, and I'm going to keep trying to respond to as many comments as I possibly can. Keep them up. And please feel free, recommend stuff. If you're a veteran and you'd like to talk about your experience in the military, or you work with veterans, or you're a military spouse and you have a job that you would like to talk about and share because you think it would be helpful, just let me know. I want to have these conversations. This is supposed to be a resource for all of you. If there are things about navigating military life that you are struggling with, please reach out. Let me know. I have tried to do GI Bill episodes, and those are super complicated because I've gotten requests for those, and I still haven't gotten that nailed down. And please, just be patient. I'm doing my best. But the government changes all this stuff so fast, it's not easy. Anyway, I hope that all of you can have productive, successful years, that you're able to get some inspiration and start planning and be prepared for what you want to accomplish in this year. But most importantly, I'm going to wrap it up the way I always do. If nothing else, let's set the goal to be the good that we want to see in the world. Let's set the goal to be a light to those around us and make the world a better place for everyone we meet, as much as we possibly can. That said, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you've been listening to Life of a Military Wife.